Hey everyone, Brittany here, and today we're talking about a really important topic. If you've ever had headaches, neck tension, back tension, gone through a pregnancy, or had any other aches and pains, it could be related to your breathing. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening as we inhale and exhale. Your diaphragm is your main breathing muscle, and it sits right here at the bottom of your rib cage. As you inhale in, air comes into your body, filling your lungs, and your diaphragm lowers. At the same time that your diaphragm is lowering, your pelvic floor is also lowering. As you exhale, they both rise back up. There's 4 types of breathing that I'm going to talk about today. The first one is shallow breathing. So when you shallow breathe, you're taking short breaths, and oftentimes you'll see people's shoulders rising. Their shoulders rise up toward their ears. Oftentimes this is accompanied with neck pain and a lot of tension and headaches. You'll see it with a lot of people that are under high amounts of stress. The second type of breathing is called paradoxical breathing, and this is one where you'll see someone pull their abdomen up and under their ribs. So as they breathe in, you're going to see my ribs start to flare out. You see how my tummy is tucked underneath and my ribs are now kind of poking out? The third type of breathing is called belly breathing, and this is where on the inhale, your air is going into your abdomen. And you're going to see an expansion through your belly and no expansion up by your ribs. The fourth type of breathing is called diaphragmatic breathing, and this is where your ribs and your back actually extend with the air. So as your diaphragm is extending down and pulling the air in, your ribs are extending out to the side laterally, and you're actually going to feel some movement in your back as well. So which one is best? Today we're talking about diaphragmatic breathing because movement is what our bodies were made for. Our ribs come around and they attach in the front, and then they also have attachments back to our spine, and there should be movement within it. So in some of the other breathing methods that we mentioned, especially belly breathing, for example, your ribs are not moving. So there's little joints there, and those joints are stuck in place. When there's no movement in a joint, do you think it's going to set something else off into the body that's not quite right? It sure does. So let's talk a little bit about why diaphragmatic breathing is so important. First of all, it helps you get deep breaths, expanding those ribs, getting natural movement through your whole upper body and torso, which increases the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our relaxation nervous system. Secondly, it decreases the pressure on your pelvic floor. So as you're breathing down, your ribs are expanding out and your back is expanding out, instead of your air going down into your belly. Because if you're doing belly breathing, your air is coming down into your belly and it's pushing down into your pelvic floor because all the air is coming down into your abdomen. If we can get people to breathe out through their ribs and through their back, it decreases the pressure on the pelvic floor, which can help women with incontinence, prolapse. It can even help with reflux because there's not as much pressure coming into your abdomen. Because diaphragmatic breathing allows so much movement through the ribs and the back, it helps to decrease lower back pain, neck pain, and tight hip flexors. Tight hip flexors are a huge problem in today's world when we're sitting so much on computers, phones, things like that. So with diaphragmatic breathing, it helps to release all the tension that's being held up here with no movement and allows the other muscles to begin to move more freely. Finally, diaphragmatic breathing is really important for women after pregnancy who have diastasis, because if you're breathing through your belly, and with every breath your belly is pushing out, it's preventing your diastasis from healing all the way. So if you can put your breath through your ribs and through your back with a little bit of belly breathing is okay, then it allows your tummy to come in and heal, and it allows you to be able to tone those muscles and control them. So let's do a couple fun little exercises to see how much movement you have going through your ribs and your back when you're breathing. Let's see if you have any movement at all right now. I want you to pay attention to if your shoulders rise, your belly bulges out, or if you feel some movement through your ribs and your back. So I'm going to have you start with putting your hands on your ribs. It can feel a little awkward, a little bit of a chicken position here, but your hands on your ribs and then your thumbs reaching around as far back as you can to feel your back body. Okay, I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Where did you feel that air go? Let's do it again. Good. So if you notice your shoulders wanting to come up, you're more of a shallow breather currently. If you feel your belly move but no movement through your ribs and your back, you know that you're currently belly breathing. Another way that I want to talk about this is using an umbrella as an example. So if our ribs are sitting here, and as I inhale, they're actually coming out like it's opening an umbrella. And as I exhale, my ribs are coming back down. So I want you to have that image in your head of the movement. As you're breathing in, your umbrella is opening, and as you're breathing out, your umbrella is closing. Now, as you're doing this breathing, your core should be lightly engaged. You shouldn't be having to pull your belly button in, and it shouldn't be just flopping and not doing anything either. It's always good to have a light core engagement so that you can have control over your pelvic floor and where your tummy is going. So let's check in another position. I'm going to have you lay on your back close to a wall. Your feet are going to come up onto the wall. Your knees are going to be at a 90-degree angle, and your hips are going to be at about a 90-degree angle as well. Just relax your body, and as you breathe in, I want you to pay attention to if you feel your back getting pressure against the floor, meaning you have some air going into your back body and pushing into the floor, or pay attention to if your belly is just coming up into the air. Now, if you have a lot of bulging going on in your belly as you're practicing that breathing, that means that you either don't have much abdominal strength yet, and that's something that we can definitely work on, or it means that all of your airflow is going down into your belly because air follows the path of least resistance. And so if your ribs and your back are tight, the air is going to go where it can down into your abdomen. First of all, mindfulness, just bringing your mind and awareness to how you're breathing, starting to engage those transverse abdominal muscles, starting to engage your rectus abdominis up on top, your obliques, paying attention to how you're breathing. There's two other ways that are exercises that can actually help your ribs and your back start to gain more movement. One would be if you have one of those large stability balls that you can put underneath you, you lay on top of it, and you just practice your breathing there because it doesn't allow your belly and your chest to expand down. Instead, you have to focus on expanding through your back. Another great option is to find a full squat. So for the low squat, you're going to need some heavier weights or maybe a doorknob or something that's going to be able to support all of your weight. You're going to grab onto your weights, your doorknob, whatever you have, and you're going to go back all the way onto your feet. Your knees should be inside of your arms, and you should be leaning and forward. Now as I breathe, my chest and my stomach are against my own legs, and so it's going to be hard to put the pressure into my front. Instead, it's going to force my pressure to go through my back and my sides. And this feels really good. It actually feels like a really good stretch through my side and back bodies. Now, one point of caution is if you currently have prolapse or you don't have control of your pelvic floor, you suffer with incontinence, you're going to want to work on mindfulness first and getting your back and your side body moving naturally before you go into a position like this where you block your front from holding pressure. Because if you have no current movement in your back and your sides and you block your front from holding pressure and then you breathe deep, the pressure is going to go into your pelvic floor and you want to protect that. So this is something to work up to, but once you get here, it feels really good. So during pregnancy, as the baby grows, your diaphragm is pushed up. Most women become shallow breathers, which means they're holding a lot of tension in their neck and shoulders when they're breathing up here. Their ribs start to flare out to make room for baby. And they also get tight paraspinal muscles in their back because their back is starting to bow to support the extra weight that's coming out in the front. And when this happens, A natural lumbar curve is going to occur fairly low, but as this happens and they hold this position for months, their hinge point in their back comes up higher. So after birth, after the delivery is over, there's a lot of tension in bad areas that have affected their breathing that they have to work back through slowly to get back into a good diaphragmatic breathing pattern. And most women are completely unaware. So it's something really important to become aware of and share with your friends to talk about diaphragmatic breathing, because it's going to bring their shoulders back down. It's going to bring their back hinge point back down into their lumbar spine instead of their thoracic spine. And it's going to bring their ribs from being flared back down to being stacked to where they need to be. All right, I hope you learned something today. This is a really awesome topic. We would love to hear any comments or questions you have on diaphragmatic breathing. Just post them below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.